Right, so spurred on by enthusiasm from other folk on YouTube, I thought I'd have a go at put the hanger down somewhere, I don't know where it is. Have a go at videoing stuff I'm doing, and I might put it on YouTube and I might not. I might just send it to my friends. We'll see. Probably very quiet for this video. However, it might be a bit windy as well because we're outside. I towed back this Aveling and Barford. No, not Aveling and Barford at all. Barford and Perkins Roller. Barford and Perkins Pioneer, I think. Don't know what model yet to find that out. I don't want to zoom out too much because you'll be able to see everything in the yard, and for those who don't know, I'd rather they didn't. Anyway, there's the bevel gear case stood in the light, complete with all the leaves and snails and detritus from the last sort of 40 years. Towed it back behind an old tractor of mine yesterday. That was a nice trip out, me and my father. About 3.5 miles an hour, I think, was the fastest we've got up to. Didn't want to overdo things. Anyway, I acquired it because apparently the gearbox is knackered, and so I could see through the side of the cover, which I took off, that the crown gear, or pinion gear even, and crown wheel are not meshing correctly, which you can sort of see from that pinion gear. They haven't been meshing for quite some considerable time. Anyway, I think I know why that is, which I've actually just noticed, going to give an explanation as to why I thought it was. I've now realised exactly why it is. So you've got your pinion gear there, focus, and your crown wheel here, and they're supported on two bearings, or bushes, bronze bearings, which are under that one cover with a oiler there, and the cover over there, oiler there, which has the brake on it. And if you look on the shaft there is what is left of the bush, and you can't really see very well, but you can see the enormous gap around it, between the point between the shaft and the bush. Big gap. The other side, that's not going to work very well. Oh yes, it is. The bush is actually sort of spread and pushed out the side. So because that's worn like it has, hang on a minute, get the hang of it, it's pushed the crown wheel across and therefore pushed it out of mesh. I mean, the thing is that really it's got a few other issues as well, because that shouldn't be, that's loose on the shaft, which is about half a tooth, so it would be better to get rid of that because that would cause issues. And the brakes rubbing, I thought that was to do with the pivot bolt for the pedal, which is down there with the washer that's funny angled. It's nothing to do with that at all. It's to do with the fact that this bush is clapped out. Anyway, so I thought I'd better have a look inside the gearbox. I drained the oil out yesterday, which that's what's left of it draining. Pretty much drained now. And I thought, let's peer in the top of the gearbox. So I've already undone the bolts and had a look, but so you take the bit of tin off that is there to stop you putting your feet on the prop shaft. And I hadn't noticed until I took that off because I saw this bit of writing here, which I thought was probably some numbers. Anyway, it's not numbers. It says fast, and over here I then noticed it says slow. And then, I'm usually a very observant person, so I don't know how I missed all of this, but it says backwards here, and an arrow pointing this way, and forwards there with an arrow pointing that way. And a friend of mine had one of these rollers about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago or something, and he had lots of levers and things, and he had a fast and slow. And I thought, well, maybe some of the gearboxes are different, but I think they're probably all the same. The thing I was puzzling over, why have such an enormous gearbox to go from this shaft here, which is the input, down to that shaft down there? I mean, you don't need this great big gearbox, which is, I don't know, 3 foot tall or something, by 2 foot wide or something like that. Anyway, getting back to it, I took the lid off, which pretty much fell off, and inside I now stood in the light, so I'll go around the other side, I think. Here we go. Inside we've got a homemade mod here, which is a bolt, goes in here through to here, and this thing looked intriguing anyway, because, you know, it doesn't quite make sense, certainly to me anyway. Anyway, getting back to it, so there's a bolt through here with a selector fork welded onto it. So, you know, that's not right, but that's understandable. So what you've got inside, which you can't really see, maybe you can, yes, there we can, is one very large gear wheel, which sits on the shaft that's connected to the pinion, and there's one almost as large, there we go, down there. This is obviously post-draining the oil out, and there's still some horrible gunge in the bottom. So I could see this through the, I couldn't see the selector fork, but I could see the 2 gears, and one gear not doing anything, through the fillet lid of the gearbox, so I thought it was worth delving inside. Well, I was going to anyway, but still. Anyway, so they're a bit worn, but anyway, you've got this gear which has been in drive for the past, I should think, at least 20 years, possibly longer, and it's chewed the fork of it, so obviously not quite precision designed, and yeah, well, not bad. Anyway, you should be able to select between what is fast and slow, and where I got it from, they did say that it was quite quick, not ridiculously quick, but quite quick. I'll explain the other modifications probably in another video. I'm kind of starting in the wrong place really. I've done some of the bits and we're coming back to, yeah, anyway. So that way would be slow, and this way is fast. Anyway, a tremendous row coming from this yesterday when it was being towed, but I had no other way of getting it back, so one had to do these things. Anyway, it was only 2.5 miles. The shaft here and the one underneath are held on bronze bushes bearing, and this end is actually in very good condition, really, I think. I mean, I can't hardly move the shaft up and down. That end sits out there is not in such good condition. Made plain by this. I mean, that's actually the the input shaft wiggling. Now you see it pulls out this way. That's the input shaft wiggling slightly, and then the rest of the wiggle is where the flange tightens onto the input shaft, and in the UJ of the prop shaft, well, in both UJs, actually no, I don't think the UJ so much, in both flanges, so the drive comes down from the gearbox, as in the extra gearbox, which I will explain later, which is up there. But I suppose as they've blanked off in effectively putting it in high down here, you need another gearbox, otherwise you're going to struggle. The only thing I don't understand at the moment is how the backwards forwards are worked. But there's two holes down here, which my hand's in the way. No, down there. Let's see if I can. Forget it. I'll have to get in another video. It's too sunny now. It was cloudy earlier, and I think there was some sort of linkage or something there. Still not sure how you'd get forward reverse. What I need is some decent pictures of one that's correct. I do actually know of a slightly bigger one quite locally, so I might see if I can go and have a good look at it and see what it's like. Yeah, we spent Saturday, or I spent Saturday evening sorting out the steering chain, which is all out of focus, because it goes up around there. So it's a Reynolds chain linked to a normal piece of chain on some hooks on the front roll, and the chain was all seized up and gummed up, and then the bolt through it was in a bad way. Well, it's still in a bad way because it's not supposed to be a bolt, it's supposed to be a pin, but needs must. I wasn't near the workshop until I get the rest of it sorted, and then there's some sort of strange arrangement with nuts and bolts going on up here, so that all needs to be sorted. Yeah, so I had to sort of remake one of the links and bits and pieces, because I had a bit of chain but I didn't have any joiners, so that knackered that one. Yeah, so I don't know how forward reverse works. I do know that it's now, or do now know that it's 2-speed. I'm going to flush the gearbox out because there's some mentional crap in the mentional crud in the bottom of the gearbox. Yeah, the only thing that did fall off on the way back yesterday, there's some interesting gunge there, which I haven't removed yet, was the throttle linkage to the engine it's got now, and that's only because the bit of wire that was holding it on fell out on the road. Nice ICI paint tin to catch all the drips, although it hasn't actually dripped, but then again I haven't had it running, so. And it's got a big chain drive on the end of the brake, which is the other end of that crown wheel. And as you can see, the sprocket is well worn, to say the least. I'll have to try and find another one of those. And probably difficult to see because I'm waggling the chain and holding the camera. But I think the sprocket turns on the shaft a bit. Also, shouldn't really have quite as much slack as that. I don't think. And this is all very mobile. It's missing a bolt out the other end. Basically the axle's on a wonk as well, because the axle, the way you adjust the chain, or part of the way you adjust the chain, is to pull the axle back, which has been done so, but it's not been tensioned properly, which works off this bar here. Over to the back of the axle, which you can't see. There you can see. And that's not tensioned properly, so it's just been clamped up without tensioning it. And for some reason one side is further back than the other side, so the axle's pivoting slightly. Anyway, it's also got what appears to be sort of a double diff, so I haven't quite worked that one out yet. I hadn't really thought about it too much, so that's probably why I haven't worked it out. However, it is a sprung rear axle, so it's quite exemplary. And I believe these were rolling contractors, but I will probably be corrected if I do put this on YouTube. I'm not very good at video editing it either, so that'll be a laugh. So it's W.T. Palmer and Co. Engineers, Thurmaston, Leicestershire, or Leicester. I got 2 of those plates and no other plates. Interesting, I've got tax holder. It has got a number plate, 2 letters, 4 numbers, but I can't find it on DVLA, so I don't know whether we'll be lucky enough to get that back or not. They're obviously worried about bending the number plate because it's made out of 8th plate, which is fairly substantial, really. Anyway, it's surprisingly, it's got lots of grease nipples on it, and obviously significant wear in lots of places, but it's not surprising for something that was made in 1930 something, I think. And lots of bits are modified and lots of bits are missing, and various other things, but we do know, or I think we do know, that it was maroon originally, as I found quite a few bits of dark maroon in places. Oh, and obviously from the gearbox it was full of water. I did tip a load of oil in Morrison's Gold Film 30, because that's all I happened to have with me, and I thought it would probably help things along, so 5 litres of that went in, and I think there was probably only about 1.5 litres of some sort of oil, probably gear oil by the smell of it, in there originally. So, there we go. I think we'll finish it there.